And welcome, football fans, to another episode here of Tim Reynolds Show's live NFL Week 10 preview. And we will also be recapping all the big trades from this past week's NFL trade deadline right here on one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. This is Tim Reynolds Show. Now let's go. And guys, it was a huge NFL trade deadline where we seen an NFL record over 27 deals done before we got to the trade deadline that was pushed back to week 10 for the first time in NFL history. So guys, get ready as we're going to recap that here and get you guys ready for an epic NFL Sunday here in week 10 of the 2025 NFL season. And ladies and gentlemen, we've already got a game in progress right now as the Indianapolis Colts are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. But guys, let's make sure everything's up and running here on the channel. Hope you guys are doing great here on this beautiful NFL Sunday. Look at this, guys. We've already got a couple of members in the chat. Carson and Rick, what's going on, guys? Hope y'all are doing well. Let's make sure we're up and running. You guys hear me okay? Let's make sure we're doing good here, folks. All right. All right, guys, let's get you a little bit of an update here on the live game that is going on right now. Looks like at halftime, the Atlanta Falcons have a 14-13 lead over the Indianapolis Colts. And we'll get you guys a little stat recap there on that one to get us started here. Thank you guys for hanging out on the channel. So Michael Penix Jr. right now with 99 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. Bijan Robinson with 9 carries for 47 yards. And we see Tyler Algier with 3 carries for 17 yards and a rushing touchdown to give Atlanta the 14-13 lead here. Drake London with 4 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. And that's pretty much it in the receiving game for Atlanta. They have had 1 turnover with Michael Penix Jr. fumbling the ball and getting sacked twice also by this Indianapolis Colts defense that has forced that turnover there. We see for Indianapolis Jones, or Daniel Jones, he's got 142 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception on the day. Jonathan Taylor continues to dominate with 10 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown here in this one. The Indianapolis Colts offense has over 100 rushing yards with Danny Dimes adding 3 carries for 25 yards on the ground as well. Alec Pierce having a terrific half with 4 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end, continues to produce with 3 catches for 28 yards, and Jonathan Taylor adds to his total with 2 catches for 18 yards as well. And hey guys, thanks for hanging out on the channel. Woo, that's right guys, here we go. Already got people popping off in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. All right, thank you guys for hanging out. What we got, man? Who we got? We got Joe Porter. What's going on, man? Hell yeah. Go Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go, man. Appreciate you guys. All right. Go Chargers, says Rick. Hell yeah, bro. Should be a pretty good matchup for the Chargers. Okay, guys, so let's get to the trade deadline here. That's what we're going to get to first. Try to recap all the big deals that happened this week. Thank you guys for hanging out on the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show. Can I get a hey yeah? Hell yeah. Hi yeah. What's up, man? Hope you guys are doing good, dude. All right, so let's go to the trade deadline here. And guys, let's start with one of the trades that people are just not talking about because it happened so long ago. But how about the Cleveland Browns trading quarterback Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals? We see the Browns got a 2026 5th-round pick in the deal, and Joe Flacco was sent over to the Bengals along with a 2026 6th-round pick. And you've got to figure Cincinnati has won this deal as of one of the best trades here in this season, where 2025, where we've seen a record number of deals. That's right, guys. Over 27 trades were made during this season and up to the trade deadline as well. Hope you guys are doing good, man. Let's try to make sure everyone's doing good in the chat. Thank you. Appreciate you 7-Up. Hope you're doing good, man. Rob, what's going on? We got Andrew in the chat as well. Rick, one of our members, is here too, saying the Chargers going to be fire. Let's go. And thank you, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get to that trade deadline, guys. Like we said, for the Cincinnati Bengals to be able to get Joe Flacco in this deal, this has definitely remained them as contenders going forward. But we know that defense for Cincinnati has been terrible. But you got to admit, Joe Flacco is still at the top of his game. We've seen him over the last 3 weeks, heading up to week 10 here in the 2025 NFL season, of really balling out. Man, he had over 400 passing yards against the Chicago Bears last week. They scored over 40 total points on offense and still ended up losing that game, but it isn't because of the way Joe Flacco's been playing. So an excellent trade for the Cincinnati Bengals early on in the season that not a lot of people have been talking about. And guys, also another under the radar deal that happened a couple of weeks before the trade deadline week. We see the Chargers would get edge Ofi in a 2027 7th round pick, and I hope I'm saying this for Odafi, the edge rusher there from the Ravens. And the Ravens also in this deal got safety Gilman and a 2026 5th round pick. Now, Gilman has been a really good player in that Ravens secondary since they made this deal. And honestly, this along with safety Hamilton being able to come up front and help with the running game has really improved this Ravens defense, believe it or not. I didn't like this deal when it first happened, but we see that the Ravens were able to get value in trading one of their top pass rushers and a guy that really wasn't producing as far as sacks this year, but he had been producing getting to the quarterback and also getting a good pass rush there for the last few years. But this year we see Odifi has not been able to do that, so they traded him for a safety that's really been able to help out that back end for Baltimore, along with a 2026 5th round pick. They get a 5th round pick in the deal, and the Chargers get a 7th round pick in the deal as well. So this was a pretty good deal on both ends. We've seen that the pass rush has definitely improved since this trade has happened for the Chargers as well, but a little under the radar deal that's really helped out the Ravens defense since this deal was made, guys, too. And also, guys, another deal that's kind of been a little under the radar here. We haven't really seen it produce the way I think Jacksonville would have liked, as we see the Jacksonville Jaguars got Greg Newsome II and a 2026 6th round pick in a deal with the Cleveland Browns, where they sent over one of their top cornerbacks in Tyson Campbell and a 2026 6th round pick in the deal. Now, honestly, for me, guys, I felt like the Browns won this deal, but I think Newsome fits in this Jaguars defense a lot better than what Campbell is with this new head coach, Liam Cohen, and the new defensive system that he has. Now, honestly, the draft compensation, I think, is a big deal here because the Jaguars end up getting a 6th round pick that's actually a part of the Jets, and because of how bad the Jets have been this year, this is going to be a very high 6th round pick for them. So they get a pretty good, decent deal in this one, and the Browns end up getting a 7th round pick from the Philadelphia Eagles. So obviously that 7th round pick is going to be way near the bottom of that 7th round. So the Jaguars, in my opinion, win this deal, but Tyson Campbell has most certainly produced and done a lot more for that Cleveland Browns defense than we've seen from Greg Newsome for that Jaguars defense. All right, what's going on, guys? Hell yeah, we got Let's Go Pats already in the chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out on the channel. All right. Oh, that's right, dude. Chargers talking about another deal here from my boy Rick on the channel. Hope you're doing good, guys. So we'll go get to that one eventually as well. All right, guys. So up next here, we got the Patriots. They traded pass rusher White to the 49ers, as we see the 49ers got White and a 2026 7th round pick in a deal where the Patriots got a 2026 6th round pick in this particular deal. Now, White is actually not produced this year, but he really fits in that San Francisco 49ers defense, and they need pass rush help. So this deal obviously favors the 49ers. I think the Patriots getting another draft pick, that sort of helps them out with their draft capital heading into next year. Heck yeah, I know what's going on, guys. Thanks for hanging out on the channel. Guys, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show. And then, guys, another under-the-radar deal that not a lot of people were talking about during the trade deadline. The Patriots traded safety Kyle Duggar and a 2026 7th round pick to the Steelers, and the Patriots got back a 2026 6th round pick. So we see the Patriots here are actually stocking up on some draft picks, getting rid of some contracts that weren't under head coach Mike Vrabel, as this is his first year with the Patriots franchise, and it looks like he's getting rid of a lot of those contracts that could go towards the salary cap. And guys, the Patriots already had the most salary cap out of any team in the NFL up to this season, up to this point in the season thus far. So getting rid of Kyle Safety Duggar and that contract is most certainly going to help out their cap room. They get a good draft pick in return here. So I feel like both teams won in this deal, and we've yet to see the impact that Kyle Duggar can make on this Steelers defense, but we know this Steelers defense is starting to improve week after week, especially coming off of a big win over the Indianapolis Colts last week, guys. So hopefully we'll see a very, very good improvement here in that secondary with Kyle Duggar being a part of that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. And another under-the-radar trade here as well. We see the Eagles were able to get Michael Carter II and a 2027 7th-round pick from the New York Jets, and they also traded over wide receiver John Mechie III and a 2027 6th-round pick in the deal. Now, this is Mechie's second time getting traded this season. He went from the Texans over to the Eagles, and now he's traded from the Eagles over to the Jets. Now, this has got to be tough for a young wide receiver going for a Super Bowl contending team all the way to a team that's, let's face it, one of the worst in the NFL this season, but a good deal here for the Eagles as they improve their secondary. Michael Carter II was a guy that was kind of decent in the Jets secondary, maybe not so much this year, but with Adoree Jackson not playing that well for the Eagles secondary, this most certainly improves that defense for the back end of that Eagles defense as well. So a pretty decent trade going there, guys. And then we also seen the Eagles make a very surprising trade. Guys, they were able to get cornerback Jameer Alexander from the Baltimore Ravens and a 2027 7th-round pick, sending over a 2026 6th-round pick in this deal. Guys, what a big trade here for general manager Howie Roseman. I think Alexander could be a big improvement in this secondary that was already one of the best in the NFL this season. Cooper DeJean, we've also seen Jackson ball out this season. So we've really got to see how this ends up playing out. But man, a lot of big moves from the Philadelphia Eagles here going up to the trade deadline, including, guys, landing pass rusher Jaden Phillips from the Philadelphia Eagles, sending over a 2026 3rd-round pick in the deal. If you ask me, Miami got a lot in return for a pass rusher that has been out with a season-ending injury over the last couple of seasons, but this season he was definitely shown he was fully healthy, to getting back to getting to the quarterback. So hopefully this will be a really decent return on investment for the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think made a very good move in this one. They give him a grade of an A. The Dolphins get a C+, but if you ask me, a 3rd-round pick for Jalen Phillips isn't half bad if you're a Dolphins fan. But man, the Eagles continue to make big moves after big moves after big moves. Good morning, Keith. Hope you guys are doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. And then, guys, another big under-the-radar deal here. Edge rusher DeMonte Jones gets sent over to the Baltimore Ravens from the Tennessee Titans as they get a conditional 2026 5th-round pick in the deal for the standout edge rusher. And we see already the Ravens get a more improved pass rusher after they made a deal with the Chargers, like we mentioned earlier. So a good deal here for the Ravens, I believe, in this one. The Titans obviously doing this one just to get rid of some salary cap. And then, guys, one of our other big trades on the trade deadline day, we've seen the Cowboys add linebacker Logan Wilson from the Cincinnati Bengals as they send over a 2026 7th-round pick in this deal. If you ask me, this was a hell of a steal of a deal for the Cowboys. They get a guy who's really good in the pass coverage element of that linebacker position, but also is a leader, a defensive captain, and a guy who could really bring some leadership to that Cowboys defense that, let's face it, they have not been very good this season. And you can tell the Bengals were just trying to get rid of the Logan contract, the Wilson deal there, with him requesting a trade, obviously only getting his 7th-round pick back in the deal. So I hope you guys are doing good. Thank you for hanging out on the channel. All right, guys, one of our other big deals on trade deadline day was the Jacksonville Jaguars acquiring wide receiver Jakobi Meyers from the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders got a 2026 4th-round pick and a 2026 6th-round pick in the deal, but it was also reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers sent over the same offer to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders let Meyers pick which team he wanted to go to. Obviously, he felt the Jaguars were a better fit for him, and talk about perfect timing. The Jaguars Jaguars head into week 10 with not only Travis Hunter still on injured reserve as he deals with a knee injury, but now we see Brian Thomas Jr. is also going to be out with an injury this upcoming Sunday for the Jaguars in week 10 of the 2025 NFL season. So we will see a big impact here for Jakobi Meyers in this deal. An excellent deal if you ask me for the Jaguars. The Raiders, though, they get a lot back in return here with a couple of big draft picks here. And we see for the Jaguars, they have not been afraid to deal draft picks this season. Heading into next year, I believe they only have a handful of draft picks now, especially after the deal they made to trade up and get Travis Hunter, and that has not really worked out in their favor to this point. But they are still a playoff contending team, and a good move here for the Jaguars. And for the Raiders, they add more draft capital after a year where they're struggling, and we know they're going to have a high draft pick heading into the 2026 NFL draft. So now they add to their draft capital so they can be able to make moves either before or during the NFL draft this upcoming 2026. And guys, next after that was probably the big shocker deal of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the Jets trade all-pro cornerback Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts, and in return, they got quite a bit, if you ask me. Wide receiver Mitchell comes over, and also a 2026 first-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick. So 2 first-round picks in this deal, an A grade for the Jets. But man, how about the Indianapolis Colts getting a prime-time player, a guy who's only 25 years old and is a first-team All-Pro at his position? If you ask me, Chris Ballard made an excellent deal here getting Sauce Gardner on this team, and now the Colts look like they are legit trying to push towards a Super Bowl run this season. And now this defense gets a big boost in that secondary, especially because they've been hampered with injuries in that back end of that Colts defense. So we'll see how this plays out. But if you ask me, I think this favors the Colts just slightly, obviously in the short term, but in the long term, when you look at the deal for the Jets, I mean, hey, you can't ask for much more in return for a guy who's an all-pro, and they are stacking up draft picks, guys, because guess what? There was more moves to come from those New York Jets here, guys. And then another big trade here. I love this one. I thought this one was probably the best trade of them all when you really look at fit as far as scheme and player. We've seen the New Orleans Saints trade wide receiver Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks. And in return, the Saints got a 2026 4th-round pick and a 2026 5th-round pick in this deal. Guys, the Saints, in my opinion, got a lot in return for one of these high-caliber, deep-play wide receivers, as Rashid Shaheed has been one of the best, if not the best, deep threat in the NFL at the wide receiver position over the last few years, as long as he's been healthy. And now he goes to an offense with quarterback Sam Darnold. And look at that, a nice cup of Joe. Appreciate you there, guys. Thank you so much, man. And hey, with that cup of Joe, we've got to mention how much more dangerous this Seattle Seahawks offense just got with the addition of wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. I mean, guys, we've already seen Smith and Jigba be one of the best deep threats this season in the 2025 NFL season for that Seattle Seahawks offense, and now Sam Darnold gets another weapon. I think this is going to allow them to stretch out the field even more, and it's going to open up the run game a lot better for the Seattle Seahawks team. That, guys, they are looking dangerous here as we head towards the second half of the 2025 NFL season. This is a huge move for Seattle, and honestly, they didn't give up a lot in return for a guy that could end up being a big, long-term, deep threat playmaker for the Seattle Seahawks offense if they're able to sign Rashid Shaheed to an extension after making this deal. Hopefully, we'll see that extension in the offseason, depending on how this goes here for Seattle. But giving up only a 4th round and a 5th round pick for a big playmaker that will most certainly help out your offense, I got to think, guys, this is pretty freaking good. Thank you guys for hanging out on the channel. We'll get to some of your comments here in a little bit. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any big comments that you guys want me to point out or shout out for you guys, make sure you hit me up with those super chats. And then, guys, like we just mentioned before, another huge deal from the New York Jets football franchise. And that's right, guys. They traded all-pro defensive lineman Quinnen Williams, the D tackle, sends over here to the Dallas Cowboys, and in return, they got quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen, as they get the young tackle, defensive tackle, Marquise Smith, and also a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick from the Dallas Cowboys. Wow, guys, so that is 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick, 2 young players acquired for the New York Jets in these 2 particular deals, not only sending Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts, but also now sending over Quentin Williams over to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you ask me, I don't know how Williams is going to fit in this Cowboys defense, but he is most certainly an upgrade at their position to help out that defense that's been abysmal so far this season. But when you look at what the Jets got in return, I mean, come on, this is absolutely awesome for the Jets going forward. They should be able to actually complete a rebuild here. Excuse me. With all those moves that they're able to make. I tell you what, guys, it should be pretty good and an excellent trade here, I believe, for the Jets, and we'll see how this trade works out for the Dallas Cowboys going forward. We also seen the Browns traded pass rusher Tryon Sharinka to the Chicago Bears, as the Bears get a 2026 7th-round pick in return along with the pass rusher, and then the Browns get a 2026 6th-round pick in this deal. I think this deal works out good for both. We all know the Browns have been struggling this season, and they're going ahead and trying to get some draft capital and improve their draft capital as they head into the 2026 NFL draft. And the Bears, they're trying to improve their pass rush because they look like a playoff contending team right now as we head into week 10. And then up next, guys, we got a big trade with the Chargers, like one of my boys in the chat here mentioned earlier. I believe it was Rick. That's right, man. What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. And my boy Rick mentioned this in the chat, man. The Saints traded offensive tackle Trevor Pennington to the Chargers, and in return, the Saints got a 2027 6th-round pick. And we see here the Chargers have been decimated by injuries by both of their starting right tackle and left tackle. So now they get a guy who's got starting experience and now comes to this particular team that really needs pass protection help as far as that Chargers offense. So I think a great move here for the Chargers. They don't give up much to be able to get a guy in return that has most certainly had some experience at the offensive tackle position. So a great move here for the Chargers, in my opinion. And the Chargers were not done making deals there. They actually traded Jaisir Taylor, their cornerback, to the Jets, and they got in return a 2028 conditional 7th-round pick. So a good deal here to offset, to make sure they had a roster spot for that deal that they made, and the Jets improved their secondary here with that deal. And those were pretty much it, guys, as far as the trade deadline deals here on Tim Reynolds Show. Appreciate you guys hanging out on the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, not too bad, man. So let's go ahead and get to our matchups coming here today as we preview Week 10 of the 2025 NFL season. All right, guys, so a big matchup coming up in here in the AFC East Division, as we see the Buffalo Bills, 6-2 on the season, traveling to take on the 2-7 Miami Dolphins. And the Buffalo Bills open up as an 8.5-point favorite here in this one. And I got to imagine Buffalo's going to put on one hell of a show against the defense that has struggled this season in the Miami Dolphins. But don't rule out a close game here from this Dolphins offense that has started to get things going over the last few weeks. But Tua Tagovailoa has got to turn down on the turnovers if they want any opportunity of winning this football game. So if Miami can play pretty decent on defense and not turn the ball over on offense, I think this 8.5-point spread might be a little too far in this divisional matchup. And that, you guys know, in the NFL, these divisional matchups always end up being tough, no matter what your record is, honestly. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and go with the points and go with the Dolphins. I'm not going to pick the Dolphins to win. I do believe the Buffalo Bills will win this game, but I think the Dolphins keep it a lot closer. So I'm going to take the Dolphins with the points. I think 8.5 is just way too much on this spread for the Dolphins, but I like them to keep it competitive. But I do have the Buffalo Bills winning the game overall. And then, guys, up next, Bucks, of course, you know the game that I got to talk about here. It's my Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New England Patriots. And guys, if you ask me, this is one of the best matchups of Week 10, where we see the Patriots travel down to the hot Tampa Bay area there in Tampa, Florida at Raymond James Stadium. And guys, it's going to be the 7-2 Patriots taking on the 6-2 Buccaneers. Now we see here Drake May has had an excellent season thus far with 17 touchdowns thrown, only 4 interceptions. He's also had a completion percentage that is near the top of the NFL this season. When you look at what the numbers the Patriots have been putting up, not only on offense, but guys, also on defense. This defense has been underrated this season, but they've also not given up over 50 rushing yards from a single rusher all season long. And that's the first time they've done that in quite a bit in their history. So they'll have to look to it. The Buccaneers will have to look to exploit that secondary because that rush defense has been strong here this season. So we'll have to see how this plays out here for the Bucs offense. That's going to look to really see their young playmakers at the wide receiver position have to step up. This offense will be without running back running back Bucky Irving. Rachaad White will get the start once again, and wide receiver Chris Godwin will also be out with an injury. And let's not forget, guys, wide receiver Mike Evans will also be out until late in the season for the Buccaneers. So they come in a little hampered, but the really good news is that they get back their starting right tackle in Luke Gedeke, who will come back from injured reserve and is expected to start this game for the Buccaneers offense. They go up against a Patriots defense that has been tough, but guys, the offense for the Patriots has also been stellar. They haven't turned the ball over a lot other than that Pittsburgh Steelers game early in the season. So we'll look to see how this Buccaneers defense can play against this New England Patriots offense. Their offensive line has been very decent in pass protection, but the Buccaneers have had 4 sacks in their last 3 games. So we'll have to see if the Buccaneers are able to get up to 4 sacks once again in this matchup here. If they're able to sack the quarterback, I think they're going to have a big impact on this game. We see Buccaneers, Tampa Bay comes in as a 2.5-point favorite in this matchup, a 48.5-point total. For me, guys, I got to roll with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. I think wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is going to make a hell of a difference in this one, and I expect Rachaad White to be able to run the football a little bit better than expected, especially with right tackle Luke Gedeke returning to that offensive line for the Buccaneers. That most certainly should help out not only the pass protection, but also the running game for the Buccaneers offense. And then up next, guys, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. Houston comes in as a 1.5-point favorite. Really? And I think that's because of how good this defense has been playing for the Houston Texans. They are like the top unit stat-wise when you look at all the things that they've been able to do and the offenses they've been able to stop. But guys, the Houston Texans are going to have to start quarterback Davis Mills with C.J. Stroud out of this one with a concussion. So because of that, honestly, guys, I got to go with the Jaguars. The Jaguars have a really good defense as well. They got a top 10 unit on the other side of the football there. So I really do think that's what's going to make the biggest impact here. I expect a low scoring game. They have it right now at a 37.5 total for this one. And I'd probably be willing to roll with that, honestly. I expect this one to be a low-scoring game and also a defensive battle here with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. But I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars in that one here on Tim Reynolds Show. And then, guys, up next, we got the New York Giants traveling to take on the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are 5-3 on the season, 2-1 at home. And we know what the Giants' record is. They're 0-5 on the road this season. And we see Chicago opens up as a 4.5-point favorite. Now, in this one, guys, I'm really concerned about what's going on with that Chicago defense. They gave up so many yards and so many points last week to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I know the Bengals have a high-powered offense, and that is most certainly not what we see from the New York Giants. But hey, this young quarterback, though, man, Dart has been really playing well. And I think Jackson Dart's going to be a big playmaker in this one. And I got to tell you, just based on what we've seen from Dart, I'm almost willing to pick the Giants to get the victory in this one because it just doesn't seem like Chicago plays up to their competition every single week in and week out. And Caleb Williams in this offense has been a little up and down, and Chicago is not only missing 3 starters on defense, they're also going to be without DeAndre Swift on that offense. So for me, guys, I think I got to roll with the upset here. I'm going to go with the New York Giants to come in and get the upset on the road there in Chicago. Right now, it's a 44.5 point total in this one. I probably would take the points in this one because I think the Giants will most certainly keep it close. So a 4.5 points point spread, I think, is way too much for the Chicago Bears defense that just gave up 40 last week. So we'll see how that turns out for Chicago and for New York fans. Up next, guys, we got the Baltimore Ravens, 3-5, taking on the 4-4 Minnesota Vikings. Baltimore comes in as we see the road favorites here at 4.5 with a 48.5 point total expected for this one. Now, the Vikings defense is most certainly the difference maker in this particular matchup because they've been playing lights out. A big win for them in the return of quarterback J.J. McCarthy and going up against a Lions offense that's been stellar all season long. We've seen Minnesota really dominate and get a big win last week, even though J.J. McCarthy didn't play his best game, didn't have a lot as far as numbers go, but he most certainly was clutch enough to get them the victory there. And in this one, guys, I've got to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I just think Baltimore is now back to doing what they need to do, especially on offense. Lamar Jackson is looking great since his return from injury. Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry doing his thing, and most certainly the defense has gotten a lot better for Baltimore since Kyle Hamilton has stepped up inside the box and helped out that running game for Baltimore, and I most certainly think that's going to be the big difference maker here. It's that Baltimore Ravens defense I think is going to give fits to that Minnesota Vikings offense and that offensive line that is decimated by injury and has really not been able to put up the numbers that they would like to put up, with a lot of guys not only dealing with injuries, including the quarterback, but just not a lot of chemistry built up between all of those guys on that Minnesota Vikings offense because people have missed so much time. So because of that, I've got to go with the Ravens. They're hot coming into this matchup right now. I think they're going to get the victory against Minnesota. But hey, 4.5, I don't know. I would probably take Minnesota with the points. I expect this one to be a little bit closer than that. Maybe a 3-point game at the end of this particular day. And then up next, guys, we're not going to talk about this one too much. We got the Cleveland Browns taking on the New York Jets. We see Cleveland comes in as a 1.5 point favorite. And for me, what I want to see here is the effort from the New York Jets team, especially after all the deals that they made. They were also supposed to trade their top running back, Breece Hall, but they didn't get what they wanted in return. So right now, how good is this Jets team going to be focused enough to try to win a football game? And then on the other side, I want to see what Cleveland's rookie quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, can do going up against a subpar New York Jets defense that is now missing their two best defensive players because of the NFL trade deadline. I think Dylan Gabriel should have a breakout performance in this one. So for me, I've got to go with the Cleveland Browns in this one just based on the deals we've seen at the trade deadline and the morale. I'm not expecting to see this New York Jets squad come out raring to hit people and really focused on trying to win a football game when, hey, everyone just got traded. So for me, I think Cleveland could definitely come in and get their first road victory of the season here in New Jersey, in East Weatherford at MetLife Stadium, taking on the Jets. And then up next, guys, we got the Carolina Panthers at home taking on their division rival, the New Orleans Saints. It's been a struggle of a year for the Saints thus far, but for the Panthers, a pretty decent year at 5-4, 3-1 at home. And we see Bryce Young has won 4 consecutive starts at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. That's the longest of his career. So going into this one, Carolina is a 5.5 point favorite with a 38.5 point total. I really do think that the Carolina Panthers have something cooking here, and I think the Saints team, no offense to anybody or Saints fans, but honestly, it's just been a struggle season for them, especially on defense. So I think the Panthers are going to be able to get the victory here, especially with how good running back Rico Dowdle has been running the football here for the Carolina Panthers. They're one of the top rushing units in the NFL this season, so I've got the Panthers winning that one over the Saints. And then not much to go here, guys. We got in the afternoon hour, the Cardinals, with their new starting quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, taking on the Seattle Seahawks, their division rival, and Seattle opens up as a 7.5-point favorite in this one with a 44.5-point total expected for this matchup here. And guys, come on, there's no way I can go against Seattle. Now, they're 2-2 at home, so it seems like that home cooking hasn't been the greatest for Seattle, and I know that Cardinals defense has been stepping up over the last few weeks, but honestly, they have had terrible fourth quarter after fourth quarter after fourth quarter, and Seattle has been one of the better fourth quarter teams this season, not only on offense, but also with the defense. Guys, this Seattle Seahawks defense is underrated. There is not a lot of people talking about how good this Seattle's defense is, and honestly, they need to start doing it because now, with adding wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, this offense is already going to start turning into a top 15 unit, and it already is, guys. They've got to get the running game going a little bit more. Kenneth Walker has got to make sure he continues to develop and really take over that RB1 position. But guys, Sam Darnold already has Smith and Jigba near 1,000 receiving yards, and we're only near week 10. So we'll see how well that Smith and Jigba continues to stand out. Right now, if you ask me, he's an offensive player of the year candidate in the NFL this 2025 NFL season. And hey, Sam Darnold could possibly be in the MVP discussion again. So we'll have to see how the Seattle Seahawks team does going forward. But I really do think in this matchup, they're going to get the victory over the Cardinals. And then up next, guys, we've also got a big matchup here with the Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And we'll have to see what exactly happens in this particular matchup as well, because for me, guys, this is a division matchup, and this always is a tough game, no matter which way you look at it. And coming into this one, the Rams are a 5.5-point favorite going up against their division rival, the 49ers. But I expect the 49ers to be able to run the football really well. I don't know what the status is of Brock Purdy as we are right now. Mac Jones might be starting once again. If you ask me, they probably should let him start again before the 49ers get to their bye week. And honestly, Matthew Stafford has been on a tear. He's putting up MVP-like numbers right now with 21 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions. Puka Nacua already with over 700 yards receiving, even though missing a game or two due to injury. I really do think this Rams team is legit. So for me, I'm going with the Rams in this one, especially because of all the injuries that the 49ers have on defense right now. But hey, I think it's going to be a lot closer than 5.5 points. I would maybe take it at 3.5, but I think this one's going to go to the Rams. Then up next, guys, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Washington Commanders. Detroit is a 7.5-point favorite here in this one with a 49.5-point total. So we're expecting a lot of scoring in this one. But I think that the Lions defense is going to look to step up and make a statement here against this Commanders team that, let's face it, they've been so inconsistent all year long, especially on offense. And their defense is not doing what they need to do to keep their team in games. And I expect this Lions offense to look for a big bounce back performance here. So expect Jared Goff and them boys to really be cooking in this one against the Commanders team that struggles to stop people on defense. So for me, guys, I got to roll with the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to get the victory on the road here against the Washington Commanders. And then, guys, with our Sunday Night Football matchup, we see the Pittsburgh Steelers will be traveling to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers open up as a 2.5-point favorite here in this one with a 44.5-point total expected. Now, for me, guys, I think the underrated thing to talk about here is this Pittsburgh Steelers defense and how much better they're getting week after week after week. I think they've improved enough where you can trust them in this matchup. Now, Justin Herbert, this guy has been an elite quarterback for quite a while now, but losing both of your starting tackles, I think, is going to be too much to overcome for this Chargers team. And because of that, I've got to roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers here in this one, guys. Even though the Chargers are the favorite, I just think injuries could be a big deal here. Now, the underrated part about this is that the Chargers defense has not really been playing up to par, at least like I would say it should be. And honestly, hopefully we'll see this Chargers team make a statement here, because if they're able to get the win over the Chargers and improve to 7-3 on the season, they could be legit contenders to win this division, especially after what we've seen the Chiefs are right now as they're on their bye week. And then, guys, we see Monday Night Football is going to be incredible with a matchup in Lambeau Field, where we will see the Philadelphia Eagles at 6-2 travel to take on the 5-2-1 Green Bay Packers. And we see Green Bay opens up as a 1.5-point favorite in this one with a 45.5-point total expected for this one. And I tell you guys what, I do not know who to really roll with in this one. The Packers seem so inconsistent to me, and there's so much drama going on with the Eagles that I don't understand where it's coming from. This team is good. This team can compete. We've seen the Eagles make so many deals already this season to help them go back to the Super Bowl. Now, for me, I think just based on rosters alone, you got to go with the Eagles, but the Packers seem to play a little bit better at home than they do on the road. But after that tough loss last week against Carolina, how could anybody roll with Green Bay in this one? I'm actually surprised that the Packers are favored to win this matchup. Now, if Brandon Jacobs can continue to run the football and they have balance there on that Packers offense, they're going to keep this thing really, really close. That defense has got to step up to make sure they're still sacking the quarterback and keeping pressure on the QB, because that back end of the Green Bay Packers defense and that secondary has not been that good here up to this point this season. So for me, guys, I really think this is going to be a close matchup, but I think I gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not too confident in it, guys, only because I think this one's going to be a close matchup. And for me, other than really maybe the Steelers and Chargers or the Patriots and the Buccaneers, this is probably the best matchup of the week, and we've got it on primetime football on Monday Night Football. So, guys, I'm not too confident in it, but I'm going to roll with the Philadelphia Eagles in that one. I just think the defense for the Eagles is going to be the difference with all the additions they made. I think that's going to be a big deal for Philadelphia, and we'll see what happens going forwards, guys. And this has been your NFL Week 10 preview and trade deadline review here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys for hanging out here on the channel. Don't forget, guys, to check out my live play-by-play coming up here this afternoon when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be taking on the New England Patriots. Thank you guys for hanging out here on the channel. For all of your love and support, please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. This is Tim Reynolds Show, and let's get to the chat here real quick. We got S9Q with the, say, can you give me a shout out? Shout out to you, brother. MIQ9K, let's go. We got Mats with the Go Bucks and Alfie in the chat. Let's go on, man. What do you think tonight of the Steelers and Chargers, Matt? I think it's going to be a really good matchup, man. I want to roll with the Chargers, but I think because of all those injuries, I've got to go with the Steelers because they're looking really good coming off that big win over the Indianapolis Colts last week. But thank you for your question. Thanks for asking. Keith, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing good. Keith with the fly, Eagles fly on the road to victory. Appreciate you guys. We got Jimmy in the chat as well. What's up, brother? We got Wayne. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. Hope you guys are doing well. And Justin and Tony. Appreciate the like and subscribe from Tony, bro. And James as well. Hell yeah, dude. And Rick with the good morning as well. Tony with the good analysis. Appreciate all the support in the chat here, guys, man. How you watching the game today, Sports Bar? Now, I got everything hooked up here, Justin, at the home. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys. All right, well, that's about it, guys, there for all the comments here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys for hanging out so much here as we preview Week 10. We'll be seeing you guys in about an hour for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New England Patriots here on Tim Reynolds Show with my live play-by-play on one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. This is Tim Reynolds Show. Now let's go. Peace out, everybody, and please do not forget, guys, to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys later today. Peace out, everybody.